biggest transition for you coming from Coral Gables to Madison, maybe both on and off the football field?
Yeah, off the field, it's definitely the weather. Totally different vibe here, more of a college feel than Miami was. But coming from Connecticut, it's kind of like the same type of vibe, weather-wise and living style. So on the field, I've had 3 OCs at Miami, so this is my 4th OC. I think Coach Longo does a really good job of going in depth and how to teach the game. That's something I never really got taught. I mean, over the years, I kind of learned stuff on my own based off experience. But yeah, he's been really good in teaching us, and that's probably the biggest difference.
What made you decide that you needed a fresh start somewhere else, and then why Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think it was time. Had a lot of up and downs at Miami, and I think coming here is a really good fresh start, especially with someone like Coach Longo. I had a lot of success with Coach Lashley, and he's more of that, spread, air raid type offense, and I think it would be a good fit for me.
You mentioned the different offensive coordinators. Can you discuss any positives of having different voices and any negatives, maybe how having to go through change all that time affected your development?
Yeah, I mean, having all these OCs, I think you learn a lot.
Okay.
You learn a lot of experiences. I think in the long run, maybe I want to be a coach one day, learning different experiences, how to handle players, how to, teach an offense. So I think it's good and bad, but like in terms of the bad, you don't get that second year system, with that same guy. I had that with Coach Lashley. I think they helped me a lot. But I think I also have the experience of coming to a place like this and learning it super fast based off the experience that I have.
You were recruited pretty hard by the previous staff here. I'm just curious, how much did those maybe past visits weigh in your head when you're looking to transfer, and did it help with a comfortability factor at all to come here for your final year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I came here twice, once in the summer, so I kind of got that feel of what it felt like, and then once in the winter. So, yeah, I already knew what the campus looked like and what to expect coming here. Obviously, it's a new staff now, so you want to make sure I fit into that realm, and I think I do with Coach Fick's work ethic and the way he pushes us, and Coach Longo's offense. So, it wasn't a super hard decision for me, but yeah, definitely thought about it, and I thought this would be a really good spot for me.
You had that great 21 season at Miami. The last couple of years, what were I know you had the injuries and the changes in coordinator. Were those the biggest obstacles, or why do you think you weren't quite able to build off 21 maybe as well as you would have liked?
Yeah, had some few injuries that kind of held me back. Had a grade 3 AC joint. Dealt with a little knee thing last year. Not saying that's an excuse, but yeah, just some up and downs, miscommunications in some places, and sometimes not playing my best football. It happens. You're not going to be perfect, and it's all about how you bounce back. And I thought I did a really good job of doing that in my time when I didn't have a good game. So excited to be here and bring my experience here and play well this season.
You weren't here last year, but when Tanner Mordecai got here, he was immediately with the ones, and Braden was with the twos. It's a much different situation this time. What is your approach coming in, knowing you've only got 1 year, and trying to win what appears to be a pretty even competition early in the spring?
Yeah, just coming here and competing. Push the guys around me to get better. Push all the teammates around me to get better. Yeah, I think the biggest difference too is I'm coming in here and they're full go. I have to kind of catch up to their pace and learn all this different stuff, different language. Football is football, so routes are going to be the same, protection and stuff. But he puts more on the quarterback to do a little more stuff with protection and changing plays when needed. So yeah, just coming in here, competing, and doing what I have to do to understand some of that stuff.
The nature of your position is one of leadership. People look up to the quarterback, but like you just mentioned, you're the new guy. Is it difficult at all to try to exert leadership when you haven't played it down here with these guys, or until you prove to them, on the practice field or in the weight room, however that you can?
Yeah, coming in, my whole thing was come in and work hard and earn the respect of the teammates around me. So thought I did a pretty good job of that. Came in here and worked extremely hard, and yeah, once spring ball comes around, it's time to kind of express that a little more. Become the leader that they brought me in here for.
Okay.
So yeah, just coming here and do what I have to do best with that.
The system, or a lot of plays that worked last year were out of the RPOs, Tanner kind of running. I know you have some experience at Miami, with some of those RPO type of actions. Kind of, how do you feel about those kind of actions and, your speed maybe in some of those situations?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had 3 OCs, and each OC did it different with the RPO game. With Coach Lashley, we were really heavy on the RPO game, so it's very similar in how he runs it here. So I'm excited to kind of get back to that, and because I think it's just stealing candy from a baby. You can't make the defense right; they're always going to be wrong. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, and obviously seeing it is pretty difficult at first, but once you watch the film and get used to coverages and situations, it's definitely helpful.
Kyle, you mentioned earlier the ups and downs of your career. You've taken a lot of criticism, maybe fairly, unfairly. Just how have you learned to deal with that, especially at the position you play? It's always going to be kind of that lightning rod.
Yeah, the quarterback's always going to be under that pressure, and learned a lot. Stay off social media, no matter if it's good or bad. I mean, I've had the highest of the highs back in 21, and then obviously up and downs, lows, and a lot of people said stuff about me, which it is what it is. I'm in that spotlight, and they can say what they want, but yeah, at the end of the day, you get used to not listening to it, so it doesn't affect me at all anymore, and yeah, you just got to live with it.
You talked about some of those injuries. How have you kind of maybe learned through those injuries about maybe better recovery methods and things like that to stay on the field going forward?
Yeah, maybe stretch more, do a little bit more recovery stuff. I think the resources here are a lot better than we had at Miami in terms of we have our own hot and cold tubs. I think the training room is a little bit bigger, and you could do a little bit more stuff. They have more resources in there. So, yeah, just do extra stuff. I'm doing like a sports leadership master program, so it's not too difficult on the school part. Where at Miami, I was doing finance, in-person classes. It's kind of tough to get in the building extra. So, yeah, just be here extra and do what I have to do to get my body right.
Have you seen the room overall, just with competition? Just how have you seen the room? Has it grown together and whatnot? And just how have you seen everyone interact with each other amidst competition?
Yeah, I think it's really good competition. There's some really good arms in there, smart dudes, and coming in here, they accepted me right away. We actually have a really close bond right now, which is pretty cool. You never know how it's going to be with the whole competition thing and the friendships, but I think it's gone really well with all of us. So yeah, really great guys around me. They push you, and they just make you better.
What excites you just maybe about the weapons you have around you at wide receiver and running back too?
Yeah, that was another thing coming here too. Obviously, you want to look at the talent around you to see if it's a good fit for you. And when you look at guys like Will Pauling, Bryson Green, Ches Malusi, the entire O-line, those guys are really good players. I mean, Will came out at the end of the season last year, had a really good year, and that kind of brought me to, oh wow, they do got some guys up there. Bryson made some great catches too. I expect him to have an even better season than he had last year, and he probably knows that too. So, yeah, and the offensive line, really solid, experienced guys, and huge. I don't think I've had tackles 6'8" and 6'9" before, so I'm excited for that.
Have you found yourself leaning on Braden at all, just for his knowledge or understanding of things, since he was in the system a year ago and also started a handful of games?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's been here for a year, so he knows the ins and outs of the offense, and definitely asked him a bunch of questions to make sure I understand what I'm doing too. So yeah, definitely leaned on him.
I know it's only been a couple months you've been around him, but what stands out to you about Nick Evers as a young guy, still kind of learning things, but physically and what you see on the field and in the meeting room? Yeah,
Nick's ceiling is through the roof. I mean, he's super talented. Strong arm, can throw all these off-platform throws. Yeah, Nick's been really accepting of me and creating a good relationship with each other. So, yeah, his ceiling is through the roof, and I'm excited to see him get better.
One thing when you look back at your 2021 film that stood out, your aggressiveness while also kind of remaining disciplined with your decisions. Kind of how maybe with more interceptions maybe last year, how do you kind of go back to that, and how do you think this offense could help you in that?
Yeah, maybe the confidence around me, I guess. Confidence in myself, because I know I can play at that level, and I think when I have that confidence in coaches and trust and everything like that, I think it's very helpful. And I know Coach Longo and Coach Fick would give that to me. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Just get back to playing like myself, and launching the ball downfield.
Do you feel like you're coming here with a lot to prove then?
Oh, yeah.
in the last few years?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, disappointing. Like after that second year, with all that talk and everything. After the next season, I had some good points in that next season, but also some low points, which ended up making me come back to school. So, yeah, a lot to prove. I'm just ready to work.
And I'd say